Welcome to Mellow the 13th, your monthly horror book club. I'm Megan. I am a artist and a writer, and this is Mel.
I am a librarian, an artist, and I can't think of a third one this time.
This month we read Slewfoot by Brom. Just Brom.
Just Brom.
Like Cher, you know?
Who, like, fun fact, wrote it and illustrated it. And they're really nice illustrations.
What did you think of the book?
I liked it. And I know that you didn't like it as much as me, and I feel like this is becoming a recurring theme.
Yeah, look, I think we should be on a mission to get a book that I like but Mel doesn't like. That's going to be the true test. It's not that also that I didn't like it per se. I think it just didn't wow me. It's like a 3-star, you know? It's like mid-range. Better than the average stuff that you read, but just not like anything overly important. If we weren't doing a book club for this, I'd probably never talk about it, to be honest.
No, you would, because you found that one character really annoying, and you definitely would have talked to me about that.
Yeah, I would have talked about. Okay, I would have talked about that bit. I listened to it as an audiobook. Mel read it as a book, so we had a very different experience with that part.
Yes, and I do think that a lot of the reason where I was like, yeah, I like this book, I didn't find a problem with the pacing, and you thought it was really slow, is because it's a really long audio.
Yes, it is. So we are doing for next month Sign Here, and we also did for this month Slewfoot. So a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. I've already read both of those books. I actually read this a month ago. Let's be honest. We've just been busy doing things.
Very unwell.
Yeah, that too. And both of them, same length of actual book. They are roughly about 350 pages. The audiobook for Sign Here was about 7-8 hours. The audiobook for Slewfoot was 16 hours. And I was like, please, what are you saying?
I can show you, like, the actual.
Yeah,
Slewfoot,
like,
Sign Here.
very identical sizes.
Pretty close. It actually kind of looks like Sign Here might be a little bit bigger.
Which I think, though, it's a little bit wider, a tiny bit wider.
And Slewfoot has like 3 chapters.
And yeah, that's also true. I think 7 in total.
Yeah.
Which wildly long chapters, which is fine, but and also the illustrations that I missed out on, but you got to see throughout the book too.
I will actually say something about the illustrations. They're right in the middle of the book, and some of the characters in the illustrations aren't in the book at that point in time. So if you get the hard copy and you're like, oh, I'd like to look at the pictures, don't look at the pictures until you're done. Or look at them at the very beginning, so you're not going, oh, I wonder who that is, halfway through the book.
Yeah.
You can start doing that from the very beginning.
So we have a couple of main characters to deal with. We have Abatha, who's the main character. She is I want to say fiery redhead character, because I feel like they really went for a stereotype here. But just know that I'm saying that in knowing that it's a little bit of a stereotype. She literally has long, wild red hair.
Which is literally a plot point, that she has long red hair.
It's a plot point, and also she's very much like quick to anger. She's someone who's not as much in control of her emotions, or it's implied that she is. But that is essentially our main character. She has been married off to a guy called Edward, who owns a farm, by her father, who basically was too broke to keep her and wanted some money.
Yes.
So, yeah, she's been married to Edward for, I think it was a few years at this point.
Yes. I think it was 2.
Yes. And Edward's father has died, and the farm has been owned by his older brother, Wallace, who is another character that will appear at some point.
Abatha also didn't just marry Edward. She was from England. Was she from England?
Yeah, she was from London, I believe.
Yeah. And she now lives in America. So it wasn't just like she got married and she didn't particularly want to. She got married and she has absolutely no escape. She can't go back over the ocean back to her family.
No.
Even if they'd take her back, which they probably wouldn't.
No. There is an implication. So she only really has her father, and her and her father did not seem to get along very well.
She took after her mother too much, which is ironic because
Yeah.
at some point in time, her father married her mother.
Mm.
So obviously, wasn't always the worst thing in the world to be like that woman.
Yes. But you never know. It could also be, I feel like a lot of, so as we go through and explain things, I do feel like a lot of the things in this book are very like what you would expect in a story like this. So this is a story about like witchcraft and the devil. If you've seen the film The Witch, it's like not all that dissimilar. Yeah. There's not a lot to it.
It's not groundbreaking material.
Relies a lot on stereotypes or tropes more specifically.
Yes.
In order to kind of carry it through. There is some like individual stuff that we'll get to later anyway. But yes, so Abatha and Edward on the farm, having a great time, except not. They are about to approach winter and they don't have a huge amount of money, they don't have a huge amount of food, and they have just lost a goat. Abatha then works out that she believes that the goat has, or I think she sees its body in the bottom of a pit near a cave.
Yes, she goes, she hears something coming from the cave and she looks into the pit and she's like, that's my goat down there.
Yeah. So she sees her goat in this pit. She's like, damn, that's a really dangerous pit. Really messed up that we would leave that there and have that be so obvious that things can fall in it. Not that she was expecting a goat to go loose, but she's really stressed about it. She comes back and she's like, Edward, I'm so sorry, but we've lost this goat. And it's a goat that they've just bought in order for them to...
Brand new goat. They wanted to get more goats from that goat.
Yes. Wanted more goats. It was going to be a good goat, and now it's not a good goat. So now they are sad. But it kind of establishes Edward as this more like... He cares about Abatha very deeply. You can tell that, at least like from the beginning, that he seems to have a very devoted relationship to her. Not in the traditional, I'm like in love with you and everything kind of sense, but in the, it's going to be okay, we're here to support each other, rah. There's no sense that he's going to like lash out at her or whatever.
He's super chill about this goat going missing. She's
Super
panicking
chill.
And he's like, it's fine. It's just a goat. We can get another goat. And she's like, we actually can't get another goat.
Yeah.
We don't have any money.
And it is establishing him also as a character that kind of doesn't have much of a backbone. So they've lost this goat. They also receive a visit from Wallace, who is established immediately as being a butthole.
Hate him.
He comes in, he eats the last of their food, he sits and drinks the last of their mead, I believe too. And so he is just walks in, goes, I want the last of this and the last of this. He eats it and then he goes, hey, you remember how I wanted to start a tobacco business and how that flopped and how I still owe a bunch of money? I'm going to put this farm up for collateral so that I can pay it back, and you'll just have to end up paying this other guy back all of my repayments so that I can get off the hook. And Edward is like, well, why don't you use your farm, the farm that you have, as the collateral for this loan because it's your responsibility?
And Wallace goes, Edward, how dare you? That's our family farm. We grew up there. We couldn't lose that farm. That would be terrible. So why don't you just... It's just like having another it would just be like having another landlord. And they're like, but we've paid this farm off. We've got one payment left and then this farm belongs to us. And he's like, fuck you.
I don't understand why you think this is a problem. Like,
it's just a different landlord. And you couldn't possibly want us to lose the family farm. You're a wanker.
Yeah, just immediately sucks. And
he's a landlord, so...
So essentially, Wallace doesn't hugely fight back. Abatha does actually manage to put in a couple of choice words, and Wallace goes, you're a woman, you can't say that. Women don't speak about business. She's also on parole at the moment for a bunch of other issues that she had of speaking up against people. So it's very important that
she's a fiery redhead.
Yeah. So when they go to church the next day, they decide that they are going to speak with the local ministers in order to appeal the decision and get them to instead make Wallace take responsibility for the loan using his farm and getting them off the hook, basically. Honouring the agreement that they had with Wallace because they do only have one more payment to make and then that farm is legally theirs. So that's essentially what the ministers let them do. The minister is someone who is like sympathetic to Abatha as best you can be, and is like, you know what? Yep, sure, no worries. Sounds great. That makes complete sense to me that Wallace should be responsible for the thing that he incurred a fine or a loan on. And wow, yeah, of course. Why would it be any other way? And Wallace is pissed about it.
Pissed.
But also Abatha is very proud of her husband. She says a lot that she wasn't sure how this relationship would work. She doesn't know if she could ever learn to love Edward because it's like a forced marriage kind of situation. But she is starting to care for him. There's a really cute scene where she explains that Edward would bring back little books and they would read together because that's a thing that you're not really meant to be doing. So she would sit and read to him, which I think is really cute. And then there's a point where he paints or draws her, not paints, he draws her. And it's like this cute little like romantic moment. And it's just very sweet.
He does also draw her in one of his father's only books, which is it the Bible or is it just like a Bible study journal kind of thing?
I assumed it was a journal, but I don't remember.
Later on, it's like, he drew her naked, and this book, what sacrilege! She's a witch.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a spoiler to say she's a witch. Have you
looked at the cover?
Seen the cover? Whether or not she's actually a witch, the Puritans go, she's a witch. Which is pretty obvious from like page 2. She's gonna get accused of being a witch.
Yeah, she doesn't even need to be doing anything witchy. It's very clear what they're setting up. But yeah, it was a really cute scene. I really actually liked their relationship together.
Yeah, I really liked it.
So Wallace, in this, really pissed. He goes and speaks to Mansfield. Mansfield is this... he's essentially just a really rich dude who is responsible for giving the money to Wallace for the loan, for the tobacco that failed. So now he's like kind of...
Puritan mafia.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that is a very good way of putting it. And he is essentially going, well, Edward can't do that. The ministers can't do that. They're meddling in affairs that they should not be meddling in. So you need to convince Edward to go halves with you for your loan, not take over the full responsibility. And Wallace is like, of course I'll do that because he's my brother and he'll do that. Because this man has no pity whatsoever. But yes, that is what happens. Soon after this, Edward and Abatha are going to repair the way to the cave system, which is just behind where the pit was, where the goat fell. They figure that will save any of their other animals from, if they happen to venture too far from the farm, they won't end up dying. So they go to fix it. They're having an argument because they are basically about Edward needing to assert himself, and also that like he can be allowed to be, sounds weird to say it like this because this is the way that she explains it, like you're allowed to lust over your wife, like that's okay, it's all good. Like he's feeling very shameful for them being romantic, and she's like, it's okay, we're married. Like
it's a very Puritan moment.
Yeah, very much so.
Because if you don't know very much about the Puritans, they were like, no, sex is only a thing that you do to make a baby. Nobody's supposed to be having fun.
And definitely not meant to enjoy it.
And they enjoyed it going to hell. And she's like, hey, I didn't grow up Puritan. I don't have this weird fucked up thing that you do. It's okay. Like, it's fine. It's good. Calm down.
In fact, great even. Like, really would like you to get on board with this. And he's like,
We could do this more than once a year.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. But during this, Edward hears some calls coming from inside the cave, and he is slowly convinced to essentially head towards the caves. He ends up falling in the pit himself, and he is killed. And he explicitly killed. Like, it's not off page, it's not shadows. You literally are in his point of view right up until the moment that he dies.
And it's very sad.
It is very sad. And you're like, oh, that's really upsetting. Also, keeping in mind at this point, it is now 25% of the way into the book. I have been listening for 4 hours. Which, yeah, this part I was also, this part was fine. But just keep in mind, we're going to do a little tally as we go along as to what points in this book the timing is. Also, it would be, I think, the end of chapter 2. Like, these chapters are insanely long.
They are.
But yes, Edward does bleh.
Oh, there is a point in time in here as well where Abatha is like, the sheriff, he's really hot. They're sitting in church. She's like, the sheriff, he's really hot. I wonder what it would be like to... No, I shouldn't be thinking about fucking the sheriff. I'm at church sitting next to my husband. Well, she's not sitting next to her husband because they're separated because it's Puritan church.
Yeah.
But it's really funny.
It is quite funny.
Like, it's pretty much like the first moment in the book that is like, oh, that's funny. Yeah. She's not just oppressed. She's very amusing. She's just a person.
Yeah. It's very silly.
She's like, oh, he's got like big, strong shoulders. And no, I can't think about that. It's very funny.
It is. So at Edward's funeral, things are a little bit tense because Abatha is now not married. So therefore, everyone seems to be convincing her, Edward, not even fucking cold. Body not even in the ground yet. And everyone is like, you need to get remarried, actually. It's really important that you get remarried because people don't end up not married after they've been married before. It's just not how it works. Wallace tries to convince her to live with him and marry his son because that would mean that they keep her in the family. And for Wallace's son, she has given like a favor,
a little
kind of
trinket,
to
magical trinket,
someone who cares about his son, so that it's like saying, oh, you know, give me a spell that'll make this person love me, and you just give them something nice to make them think that it's doing something, but it's not really. And it's not actual magic, it's just, you're just trying to make them feel good kind of thing. Yeah. And she's trusted to do those kinds of stuff. Because again, we're setting up the whole witch allegation, right? So she just got some sprigs together and went, there you go, sprinkle that on your pillow or whatever, and that'll make him fall in love with you. But she can clearly tell that they are obsessed with each other, and they very clearly are in love. And, well, not necessarily in love.
No, I would say for teenagers, they're in love the way that teenagers are in love.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. And so her even considering that outcome, she's like, do you not know your son? Like, he is in love with someone else. Like, you're so willing to use him in your plot that you're not even considering how he would feel about this.
And in full Christian patriarchal way, he's like, no, they're my kids. I get to do whatever I want. I made them.
Yes. Yay.
I made them. They'll do what I tell them to.
And so then they also consider, like, there are other people in the town that she can get married to. I think they also list the sheriff as an option.
Maybe.
Which I thought was quite funny. But then she essentially goes to she mentions that in the situation where a widow is, there is precedence for a widow to be able to take on the property of her late husband and be the owner of that property. So she's like, if the ministers will allow me to take on the contract that Wallace had with Edward, we're all Gucci, right? Wallace, pissed about this. He does not love this idea. As you can imagine, the man loves nothing more than money and, I don't know, power.
His brother.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of love that they have between the two, because there's none of it, really, is what's there.
Yeah, I think Edward probably loved his brother because he was a good person.
But I think it's always like, it does feel like he kept saying that he cared about his brother, but in no way did he actually care for his brother. His brother died, and we didn't establish either. I mean, obviously his brother died. That's what fucking happened. But more, I mean, we also established, so Wallace came to see Edward and Abatha in order to convince Edward to take over the loan in half. So basically split it in half, and you'll do with half and I'll do with half. He arrives as Abatha realizes that Edward has not come back, and she thinks he's fallen into this pit, and they're the ones who go out and find him. Like, it's very distressing what happens, and yet he has no grief for him. There's no emotion, there's no nothing. I would have liked to see more of a, I'm an evil person, but I really love my brother, and having a moment where he were able to see him and him loving his brother, rather than him just being mad evil person that is putting his fingers together like a mad evil person would. Yeah.
That would be easier if I was holding a book, so I couldn't actually.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I just would have liked to see a bit more of a issue there. Anyway.
I don't really mind in... I was going to say books are short. It's not really a short book. It's a normal size novel. I don't really mind in standalone Oh, hiccup. Is it just going to be one? Yeah. I don't really mind, third try, in standalone novels if characters are kind of like one-dimensionally evil. The fact that there wasn't a point where you could go, maybe he can be redeemed, just made the story flow a little bit better. Because we do already have characters that are like, can they be redeemed?
I don't feel like we did, though. So I would agree to that when it comes to Mansfield. Mansfield was just evil. He sucked. I just feel like with the way that everything happened very conveniently, it just didn't ever feel like there was a question as to what was happening. It feels like the equivalent of, this is a wild thing to compare this to, it feels like when you play D&D and you're getting railroaded. Like, you are just getting directed along the tracks to where you need to go. I didn't feel that there was any question or any kind of thing to ruminate on to make me go, you know, oh, what is happening here or whatever. I was always of the understanding of exactly what was happening at every single point, even when they were deliberating. So we're about to establish the wild spirits that come in, being Forest, Sky, and River? The fish? Creek. I was like, it's not River.
It's not River.
It's Forest, Sky, and Creek, and how they are trying to convince his name currently is Father, that basically he is their slayer and he's there to protect them and everything like that. They try to establish that, Father doesn't know who he is, and there's this big conflict about who he is, and I'm like, there's not really, though. You're telling me there's meant to be some thing happening there, but I wasn't feeling it. I always knew that he was going to end up being, well, I like life. I don't want to kill people. It's like, or like kind of you do a little bit of both, right? Yeah. Like there was never a question as to how this was going to end. Forest, Sky, and I was about to say Spirit, Creek are the wild spirits. They come in the form of a crow, a opossum. Opossum or possum?
They're the same thing.
I thought an opossum is slightly different.
No, in America, it depends on like the regions, but an opossum and a possum are the same thing.
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough. And
I'm so sorry if I'm wrong about that. I'm just realizing I'm 98% certain that an opossum and a possum in America, they're the same thing. They're the little ones with the big screamy mouths.
Someone can yell about it in the comments if we're wrong. So Forest, Creek, and Sky being a possum or an opossum, whatever we're going to call that, and a raven. Raven? Not crow. I actually don't remember.
I know those aren't the same thing, but I don't know.
I don't remember which. I'm pretty sure it's a crow, actually, now that I think about it. But I'm not going to say that with any certainty.
It's a big black bird.
Yes, that's very true. We've got to look at the nose. Look at the schnoz on that one. You tell the difference. Or how big they are. Anyway, or a fish. And they're kind of played as like little children. Like they're very playful, very childish.
Well, they are children as well. They're not just a fish. They're a person fish. And they're not a possum. They're a person possum.
But so Forrest's voice in the audiobook is really annoying. Like, I don't even know if I could replicate it. But so they talk about they are wanting to get Father to help them get rid of all of the people so that they can feed and grow the pawpaw tree. Bring that back again, which is this sacred tree to them that gives them fruit that allows them to be sustained and sustain. Like they're very much
magic fruit.
Yeah, they're wanting to preserve nature. And these people here, they are not preserving nature. They have animals, and that's bad. And they work the land, and that's bad. Like, it's fun, I guess.
Yeah, and Father has amnesia now from the last time that they had him running around being a slayer when they were killing off...
Oh, Mamunapet.
Okay, that's it. That's why I have no idea what that name was, because that's not what it says in my head.
Oh, I heard it said like 10 times. I'm good.
Yeah, and all of his people. Also, I should point out, I only learned that the tree's name is Pawpaw when we were discussing it after I'd finished it because it says Papa.
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking it was like father and papa, like family terms. There's also, they talk about like Mother Earth as well.
Yeah.
And so I never would have guessed pawpaw, like a pawpaw tree.
Well, unless the audiobook is lying to me.
I doubt it is.
But I recall Forrest saying a million times, we need to protect the pawpaw tree, the pawpaw tree. And I'm like, please stop talking about the fucking pawpaw tree. I'm going to cry. It was a very obnoxious voice. But yeah, they're creepy little like kid spirit things. And they are trying to convince Father that he is the Slayer and he is there to protect them. And Father is like, he's being Belle and he's like, I think I am belonging to a better world or something.
Spirits, especially Forrest. Forrest is like the lead little spirit guy.
He's also the only one that talks, really.
Yeah.
Sky doesn't talk at all. Creek says some things.
Yeah.
But Forrest is the main mouthpiece.
He's just very chatty. You can't shut him up.
Yeah. And it's really annoying when he's got a really annoying voice.
But yeah, they are trying to convince Father that he needs to go slay all the Puritans the way he did with
Mamunapet?
And his people, like a couple 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Because they were the last big threat.
Yes. So Father is like, okay, well, we're going to take on... and I should say also that Forrest is trying to convince them that they should first go after Abatha because look at all the animals on her farm.
Yeah.
She works them to death. Not really, but that's what they're trying to convince him. Because they had witnessed... so after Abatha takes over the farm, she is trying to get the farm going. She needs to be able to sow all the crops and get everything going so that she can make enough money to make back the last payment because she has now been tasked with taking over that contract that Edward had with his brother, which is in making that final payment. As long as she does that, she owns the farm. And there is nothing else that they can do about it.
If she doesn't, then the farm goes back to Wallace because she's proven that she can't do this by herself as a widow woman all by herself in the world.
And also, I can't super remember how they justify it, but basically, if she fails as well, she then gets owned by Wallace? I don't super understand how that works. I don't super remember.
I think it's like... she's still technically part of the family. She has his last name. He'll have to look after her and she will have to go because she's useless. Like,
it seems like it'd be all nice in that they're trying to look after, like, their widowed sister-in-law, but it's not. It's like a control thing.
Yeah.
And the family is evil and awful. So yeah, Forrest is trying to convince him that, yep, you absolutely need to go and you need to kill her and blah blah blah. Blah. She is mean to animals. So they go. They head to the farm.
They pull some kind of prank and she gets a bit pissed and then she's like, my mother was kind of a witchy person. She wasn't like a witch, as far as I know. She was just a kind of witchy person. And she always said that you had to be nice to the spirits, despite the fact that she came from Europe and the spirits are probably different there. And she does acknowledge that. She's like, I'm going to try this anyway. And she offers the three of them like a bowl of milk. She's like, would you like this? We could be friends. And Forrest is like, fuck off, you bitch.
I do love Forrest. If he did not have such an annoying voice, best character.
Like, how dare you try and bribe us? And Creek is like, I'm kind of in, I would like some milk. And Forrest is like, oh, don't you dare, and they all run away. But she's established contact.
Yeah. Upon meeting and getting along with each other, Father and Abatha end up establishing a little bit of a relationship. I don't mean like romantic relationship. I mean that they form a partnership.
Yeah.
Where eventually we find out that Father is able to, he's not just also in control of killing things, he can also make things. So he is able to help her grow some crops and make her suck less at farming. And
she really sucks at farming.
Yeah.
She tries really, really hard, but she's very not good. This is not what she is meant to be doing with her life. She's not great. She almost breaks both like herself and her donkey trying to like, not saddle it up, like put the harness thing on it. She's doing like a real bad job. Did she break her leg there?
No, I don't think she breaks her leg there. I thought wasn't that...
She hurts herself
something.
Somehow. Yeah. Not horribly bad, but she hurts herself a little bit.
And there is a point just before Forrest and Creek and everything rock up where she is trying to get water from the well because she's finally managed to get everything sown. And she's like, cool, I just need to get some water and I'm going to hand water all of these things because there's been no rain. And then the rope to the well breaks and she loses her bucket in the well. And she's like, what if I just fucking go in after it? Like, what am I going to do? And then that's when...
That's what Forrest does.
Up. Oh, yeah.
Forrest is the one that makes the bucket fall all the way into the well. Yeah.
I do remember something... Yeah, and then they go, yep, yeah, that's it. That's the link.
That's the prank. It's not a prank. It's just mean. He's like a YouTuber. He's one of those prank stations on YouTube where you go... That's not a prank. A prank is supposed to be funny. You're just being mean.
Yeah, but you kind of support it.
Only because he's a possum dude.
Yeah, true. But also, Abatha is getting a lot of grace in this as well from the church. So she's meant to be attending church. She's meant to be, fulfilling all of her responsibilities in that regard. But they've essentially taken pity on her and allowed her to not have to fulfill those duties while she is establishing herself, because everyone is basically gone, yeah, you go, girl, you go tell Wallace.
We don't like Wallace either.
Yeah. Abatha is also working with the minister's wife, Sarah, to be like, hello, please be nice to me. And Sarah's like, there are lots of people in this town who respect you and care about you. And yeah, we all want Wallace to fail, basically.
And she gives her treats.
Yes. There are still some people in the town that don't like her. It's very much established that there's some of the women, especially in the town, that are quite mean. So yeah, it's nice to know that she has some people in her court. But so she manages to grow all of this corn, and then Wallace finds out that she's managed to grow all this corn, and he's like, shit, she might actually be able to do this. We need to sabotage this.
Yeah, you guys.
But slightly before that, Sarah, being the minister's wife, their daughter gets sick with the measles and they go to Abatha for help. She manages to cure the daughter of measles by doing she calls it cunning work. We know it's witchcraft. In this case, it actually seems to legitimately be witchcraft. In that she is able to bring her back to basically full health. And everyone just kind of is like, cool, I don't care how you did it, you just did it. And that's the important thing. And everyone goes, oh, wow, yay, how great for that. And that's the end of it for now.
Power of chicken soup.
Yeah, just some chicken soup, that's it. But then Wallace is also being made aware that there is great amounts of corn that are sitting in the fields. Because she has managed and seems to be on track to be able to get enough money to pay back the farm. So he enlists...
Obviously, Wallace can't have it.
Yes, obviously not. So he gets the help of some local peacock people, one of them being called Thunderbird, which is a sick fucking name, by the way. And they go to Abatha's farm in order to start shit. They're intending to just burn down the corn, and a fucking mess ensues where...
I don't think they actually intended to burn it. They were going to steal it originally.
Steal it, trample it. I think they were going to trample it. They were going to run around in the field,
right, yeah,
and trample all of the corn.
They were just going to squish it, but she'd already harvested it and it was already in a cart.
Yeah.
And they were like, can't really squish it when it's in a cart.
2 people end up dying. Not Wallace, sadly. She manages to miss that shot. However, the barn does end up burning down, and she does lose most of that corn that she has harvested. So she's in a lot of trouble. But she knows that Wallace is up to his dirty, nasty tricks. So she enlists the help of...
She shoots him in the butt.
Yeah. I thought it was shoulder, but butt's better. Butt's so much better.
I swear, actually, I thought it was his butt.
It should be his butt. I don't care what the book says. I'm not going to check it. It should be his butt. She gets the help of Samson, where he convinces her to sing. I'm super impressed with that. Don't know if you can tell from my face. But she eventually is able to grow honey through the bees.
Yes.
And all of this is using up the magic of the pawpaw tree. Like, the wild spirits and forest especially is pissed yet again. They try to kill her a couple more times, and they're like, you're not even bloody listening to me. You're going to, this poor sapling tree is dying because you keep using this magic. Stop using this magic.
And you know how we could make that poor little sapling tree bigger? Feed it the girl that you're friends with.
Yeah. They're like, you could fix all of this by just feeding the tree her. Go on, do it. And then Samson just keeps scaring them away, and they go, bah! And then they go back into the forest. But Samson is also having this like identity journey thing happening here, and he does choose to go and see Mamunapet, who is the person that the wild spirits have told us is the person that the wild spirits, they basically establish him as the enemy, right?
Bad guy.
He's the bad guy. You don't want to go see him. But Samson is like, well, I need answers, so I'm going to need to see someone. So he goes and sees him. Mamunapet tells him that the wild spirits are lying to you, and actually you were our god, and they corrupted you and made you into a devil. So don't trust them, actually. And Samson is like, do I trust them? Do I not?
This is a recurring theme as well. When Abatha first meets him, she's like, wow, you have like goat horns and shit, like the devil. Do you promise you're not the devil? And he's like, of course I'm not the devil. I don't even know who that is. And then he goes to see Mamunapet. See, I should listen to the audiobook sometimes because I don't know how anybody's names are said. Mamunapet goes, yeah, no, you're totally the devil. When they talk about the devil, no, they're absolutely talking about you.
When they pull
he's like, what?
When they pull up the devil in the dictionary, there's a picture of you looking back.
And he's like, what's a photo? They haven't been invented yet.
We haven't also established that they call him Samson. So Abatha chooses to call him Samson after the dead goat.
She does know that he ate her goat.
He ate the goat. Forrest admits that they convinced the goat to come into the forest and forced him to eat him. And she goes, you're Samson now. Fucking weird idea.
Yeah, I mean, he does also kind of look like a goat.
Well, there is also something to point out too in all of that deliberation that we haven't really mentioned, because genuinely I think the book forgot that it did it. there is also a point that Edward is following, like Edward's spirit, quote unquote,
He's ghosting around.
is following Abatha and Wallace around. Like Wallace can see Edward in the field. He has no face. He has, I think you can just see his eyes, and they're just like they're just reflecting, like the orbs in when you're looking at a cat in low light, and they look back at you, they're like, "Ding! I've got a cat that does that," and it's terrifying.
Oh, or like last night in with the we
Don't
saw
like that.
Obsession last night.
Yeah, pretty much exactly that. Yes, is just standing in the field, kind of watching her. I really would have liked to have had more go on with that. It happens maybe 2 times to Abatha,
Yeah.
once to Wallace, where he's like, I was sure that he was out there, and then he rushes out there, and then he's not there. And he was one of the people that helped get Edward's body. It's like he knows that he's definitely dead. But
Did they get his body?
I'm pretty sure they picked out his body from. Oh, maybe they.
I thought they went. That's a really big hole, and we can't get down there without other people being hurt. I thought they left him down
saw
there.
him there though. Like it wasn't like they, like at the very least they saw the body.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they say they like at the funeral where she's like nobody's allowed to talk about him because it's a Puritan funeral. They're just like, hey, we're here. We're putting a box in the ground. That's it. And she's like, it's an empty box and nobody's even allowed to say anything about him. I always cried.
Because she gives a eulogy, and it's very sad.
So I was reading this on our way to Melbourne on a road trip, and I'm sitting in the back of the car, and I'm like, okay, I'm okay now.
They do a really good job of establishing how cute Edward and Abatha's relationship is, and you can see the promise of what their relationship could have been if this was a different book.
Yeah, if they'd had more time, like if it had been, I mean, I don't think they ever would have gotten together if it was a relationship that they had chose. But like, if they'd had like another 10 years, they probably would have been really happy.
Trope, you know, like.
I don't feel like it's forced because he was never forceful though.
No, but I more mean forced romance in the sense
marriage.
Of like that's how I would see a forced romance is when you are in a marriage or someone is forcing you to be together. It's not that someone is being forceful. Abatha is able to pay off the farm
with honey.
Wallace is not happy about that. So essentially he brings a witness with him and he's like, look, you cannot pay off this farm. And she says, no, I can't pay off this farm with this corn, but look at my house, it's full of honey. And brings them inside the house and goes, do you know how much honey is worth? Because I know how much honey is worth, and it's worth a lot of money. And so turns to the witness that's with and is like, do you want to count how much that is? Because like, I think that's enough. And they go, yep, that's enough. You win. And Wallace goes, rats, that's not good. And then some time passes. He chooses to come back.
Oh, is it? Does he come back? I thought he got attacked by bees the first time.
No, he comes back.
Spoiler, he gets attacked by bees.
Because he comes to run back to plead with her in order to not do this, essentially.
Right, yeah.
And then she, because he brings people with him too, in order to kind of be like, force her into this, essentially. And she, because this is the point also, like, because she said this when he brought the witnesses for the kind of exchange, where she says, there are 2 dead people at the front of my land. Don't make it be a third. And yeah, so she uses her magic to force the bees to attack Wallace. And she's like, that was such a stupid idea, but he sucks and I had to do it. Which honestly, yeah, absolutely you did.
Understandable, unfortunately.
But then Wallace uses that as a reason to accuse her of witchcraft, saying that she, and also all of the help that she's provided to the village, the help that she's provided to the village, like with the little charm trinket gift for his son's girlfriend, and the help with the measles, and this now as well. He's like, she's a witch, and everyone's like, of course she is.
She gave me little trinkets that did absolutely nothing too.
Because essentially it feeds into like a whole like mass paranoia situation where people start getting actively sick, and
that is also orchestrated by Wallace's daughter.
Yes.
she's like, oh, I'm itchy and my hair hurts and it's because I'm wearing this charm. And she pulls off the charm and she throws it on the ground and she's screaming and she's like, oh my god, it's magic, it's evil, it's bad. And all her little friends are doing the same thing. And that sets off multiple other people who aren't involved in, like, directly involved in the plot to be like, oh my god, I'm itchy too. It can't possibly be because it's like 18 something and we all have fleas.
No, it's 1666.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Remember? Because of the
1666.
But yes, it, you know, could be a multitude of reasons. But also I feel like it was feeding into like a mass paranoia kind of situation where everyone went, oh my god, there's this thing happening. Oh my god, let's all freak out. Very descript way of explaining that. But everyone essentially is against her. They even bring in, I will never forgive them for this, by the way. They bring in her cat, and her cat is old and has one eye, and he's really cute. And they're like, that's her familiar. Owning a cat, that's wrong.
Okay, but I truly do believe she actually did bring that cat back from the dead.
Oh, absolutely. 110%. So technically, this could be the biggest evidence against her because everyone is like, that cat should be dead. It looks like it's been run over.
We saw that, like, there's an old woman who's like, we saw this cat get attacked by dogs and be like pretty much torn apart, and that was a dead cat. And then she picked the cat up, and then all of a sudden that cat wasn't dead anymore.
Yeah. I also forgot, this is totally out of order, but it was the funniest part in the entire fucking book. There is a point too where Samson is trying to learn more about himself, and he goes and speaks to an old woman and gives her a heart attack. And that was very funny.
Yeah. She's picking berries out with like her grandchild. And he's like, hi, what's up? I'd like to speak to you. And she's like, oh my god, the devil. And he's like, why do people keep saying that?
And then she dies. It's not funny that she dies, but it was very comedic. And also ends up being not in his favor because everyone is like, you're cavorting with that guy who killed someone.
Yeah.
But he didn't kill her. She just died of, I wouldn't say natural causes, but almost natural causes. So it's definitely, it's all not working in her favor. She is accused of witchcraft.
And that does happen very close to the border of her land because that's where Samson's been hanging out.
Yes, where the woman died.
That's why it's associated with her and being a bad thing. Like, the devil lives on her land. He steals berries from children.
And I think even Wallace accuses her, says that he saw the devil on her land also, I think, because he does see Samson at one point.
Yeah, he does show up and kind of just go, boo, fuck off.
Yeah. Doesn't actually do anything to them, but just is like, ah.
Yeah. He does actually steal berries from a child.
Yes, he does. But it's fine.
No, the kid is like, berries? And he takes them. But, you know, it's a child. And so he's like, the devil took my berries.
The devil took my berries and also my grandmother. Even though technically he didn't do anything. Yeah. But yes, Abatha is accused of witchcraft. They kill her cat. Fucked up.
Yeah.
I will not, that's the part that I won't forgive them about. They killed her cat. They also hanged the cat around her neck as like to taunt her. They're even sitting there and they're like, well, she's going to be killed anyway. Let's just, if we don't have to watch her if she's dead, let's just fucking kill her.
We could smother her. At this point in time, she's hanging upside down. They're trying to get her to confess to witchcraft because they cannot execute her until she confesses. They're like, it's very distressing for my dog to hear about this. They have brought in Sarah, who is the pastor's wife, and they're trying to do the same thing, but they can't actually physically torture Sarah, because she is the pastor's wife.
Also, Wallace is freaking out about that because he's like, if they kill Sarah, I'm stuffed. Yeah. There is no way in hell anyone will forgive me or think that I am in the right here.
Because everybody loves her.
If they end up punishing Sarah. So he I don't think necessarily he manages to, but there are some machinations involved that involve Sarah's daughter coming to her and essentially pleading with her that she doesn't want to be without her mum. And so Sarah kind of accepts that.
The pastor has cracked an absolute fit when he finds out his wife has been arrested. He's in the stocks and he's like, Father has lost his fucking mind. Please don't leave me.
Yeah. Pretty much don't leave me without anyone to help me. And so she rescinds her.
She
No,
doesn't
she-
confess to being a witch herself, but she says that she saw Abatha doing witchcraft.
Yeah. Yeah, she confirms what they wanted her to do, essentially.
And then, unfortunately, because the magistrate, whatever his name was,
I just wrote him down as magistrate.
yeah, he doesn't like that pastor. It's not been important. There are actually 3 of them.
Yeah,
there are 3 pastors, but this is the main pastor that we've been talking about that's been on his side.
Minister Carter is the one,
Yes.
the main one that we talk about the most, and he's the one that's the most sympathetic.
Yeah. He, for some reason, I can't quite remember, really doesn't like Minister Carter. So he's like, I'm actually going to take this opportunity to fuck you over. Your wife has just admitted to procuring witchcraft. Maybe she didn't do it herself, but she hired a witch. So fuck you, we're taking her away and she's going to jail in the city. But we are going to kill Abatha. So they have her upside down, and that's the method of execution. They're just going to hang her upside down until she dies, because you can't be upside down for a very long time. And that's when the guards are like, we could just smother her. No, we know the difference. That's technically how she's going to die eventually anyway.
But then, oh my god, how convenient. Samson rocks back up. So essentially what had happened with the whole Mamunapet situation. Mamunapet explains that the wild spirits, they lied to you. They were the ones that made you the devil. You were originally a god of nature and a god of good, but they made you the devil. And so he's like, I have good and I have bad. Oh my god. Like, you didn't know that already? Idiot.
And then he's like, you know what? It's too fucking much to deal with. You, old man, say you can put me to sleep and I'll just go to sleep forever and I'll not be awake, and this time they won't be able to wake me back up, and that actually sounds really good to me.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I'd really like a big nap. But then Forest and Sky and Creek, this part didn't super make sense to me, but essentially they managed to crush a bunch of skulls, which then revived him to his full power somehow. I don't super understand how, but that happened. Forrest in this fight also dies, but they managed to bring him back. But he's like full power now. He's got no restrictions. And he comes back and he's like, I am big and all powerful.
They don't bring Forrest back. Forrest stays dead.
No, I'm talking about Samson.
Oh.
They bring Samson back because for all intents and purposes, he is dead. Like,
yeah,
in this moment, he's gone. He's off the plane. He is no longer dialed in to the mortal coil.
Yeah.
But they managed to bring him back and bring him to his full power, his full potential or whatever.
Yeah.
And he comes back and he's like, you're abusing Abatha. I don't like you guys. And he manages to free Abatha and gives her a choice. So she broke her leg.
Oh yeah, she broke her leg real bad.
Really, really badly. It has healed in badly for like what small time that it has been healing in. They did not provide her with any healing while the trial was going on. My low battery alarm is coming up, but it'll be fine. It'll be so fine. I'll just keep watching it. So she essentially is going to be dealing with this for the rest of her life. And he is like, I can either get rid of this whole situation for you. You can live the rest of your life with a crippled leg. Have a great time. But I'll at least get you out of here. You know, get you out of trouble. Or come live with me. You'll be free. You can do whatever you want. Clearly, what's the better option? So clearly, she chooses to be free. But he essentially says that he needs her help with some stuff. And so I even wrote this in my notes, they just kind of go on a murder spree.
They really do.
They really just start killing a bunch of people. They do speak, look, they murder the people that were trying to murder her. I guess comeuppance, I suppose. So that makes sense. They also manage to speak to Carter while he's still in the stocks. And he's like, I thought you were better than this. Like, you know? And she's like, nah, actually not. really. And he's like, wow, I'm so disappointed, but that's really all that happens to him. Um, they do also go and they kill Wallace and his family in this weird dinner scene thing. I thought it was a little bit anticlimactic, to be honest. Just running in and being like, all you guys dead. And in different ways. They managed to do it in ways that seem like fitting for each of the people that they're killing. But yeah, like Charity gets her voice taken away or something.
Yeah, she had like pretended that she was choking and itchy and stuff like that, and like she gets filled with bugs.
Yeah. Like they just go on murder spree. The last person they need to go after is a character we haven't mentioned because he's not super important. It's this guy called Ansel. He's essentially on a literal witch hunt all the time. He's constantly like, I was late, sorry, the devil was trying to compel me to go left and I went right. And that made me late. Like he's a very weird character, but he's very much in the, someone's a witch, I'm there. Pitchfork ready.
Yeah.
And he sucks.
Witches? I hate witches.
Yeah.
I think they might have said that he had been involved in a witch hunt when he was younger, and he kind of never got over the high of helping someone get executed.
Yeah.
So it's like his thing.
It's his literal whole thing. He's like a daredevil if they wanted to have witch trials, I guess. But on the way to, or during that whole scuffle, Abatha actually ends up dying. I don't remember the method by which she dies, other than the fact that she does.
I remember.
Okay, you explain this way better than me then.
So he's holed up in like the town hall, and they can't get to him. There's a bunch of people out there with rifles, and they're all aiming them down the road where Abatha and Samson are. And Samson's like, hey, just so you know, you're very powerful right now, but you can still die. And she's like, cool. And she runs towards all these people who shoot her with their guns, and she dies. I mean, she doesn't die immediately. She gets shot, and Samson like pulls her back, and she's actively dying. And I don't actually think he goes, I fucking told you so. But he should have, because it had literally been like 2 pages before where he was like, you're really strong, but you can still die. And it's not like the woman doesn't know what a gun is. She owned one. She's shot people. She's killed people. But she was like, nah, this is fine.
Well, yeah, Samson kills a bunch more extra people. They also kill Ansel, but they use his blood to fuel the pawpaw tree. Pawpaw tree grows up. Pawpaw tree grows fruit.
Presumably a pawpaw.
Yeah. They use the pawpaw to bring Abatha back to life. They undermine that very quickly. She dies. Ugh. She revives. Oh. Done.
And they live happily ever after until 1972 or 3, where some hunters wander into the woods, and I think it kind of implies that she eats them.
Yes, there's a very like, hello, you have stumbled upon my abode. Come in and have tea, and I will definitely not eat you.
And they're like, wow, a girl out here in the forest. Are you by yourself? And she's like, hey, no, I'm not. Everybody meets Samson.
Yeah. And oh
and
my
the book
god.
ends.
Samson.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just didn't do much for me.
It wasn't particularly like, I don't know the word I was going to say. It wasn't anything new. Like there were no ideas in it that I was like, wow, I've never heard of anything like this ever before. But I did enjoy it. Yeah. I really liked Edward and Abatha's relationship, even though that's over in the first literal quarter of the book.
Yeah.
I was saying this to you, I really liked that they didn't have romantic tension between Abatha and Samson. It was just like, it was an actual, just like a friendship.
It did seem...
I don't know if in the 70s part it was more like, hey, this is my husband, Samson.
Yeah, I did also like that. It felt more like a partnership. It wasn't like a romantic relationship. It was just a platonic partnership. Not that there couldn't have been anything romantic between them. It didn't feel like it focused on that, which is good because I feel like that would have detracted a lot from what was going on if it had been a literal sleeping with the devil kind of moment. Because she had just gone from this relationship that she didn't want to be in to then being in a relationship with the devil. And I would have thought that would have been pretty sad. If that developed over time, sure, I'm cool with that. But yeah, it is nice that it didn't focus on that. But yeah, I did find the story just a little bit too like derivative. There was nothing that it was really bringing new to the table that I was like, oh, that's a really interesting thought, actually. And I was really sad when Forrest died, even though Forrest was so annoying. But yeah, I have heard a lot of people coin this as like a feminine rage story, and sure, it's definitely a good on her moment.
Yes.
You know,
Definitely goes in the good for you category.
yeah. I just don't feel like it was really doing much new. But then maybe that's also to do with like, because a lot of the art in it is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It's also not like it's a bad story. It's not like it didn't make sense or anything like that. Just, yeah, wasn't bringing too much new to the table.
Yeah.
Which, what are you going to do? Not all of them can be you weren't meant to be human.
True.
But yeah.
Honestly, if every book that we read was on the level of You Weren't Meant to Be Human, I think I would get burnt out on being emotionally devastated very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty emotionally devastated about Booker, though. I can cut that out. It's fine.
Yeah. What would you give it out of? What do we usually give
I would
that
say it's a
rating?
3 out of 5.
That's true. You already
We
did.
usually make up the rating, but I would give it a solid 3 out of 5. And that's not, my rating system is pretty fucking harsh, right? Like a 3 is a very good book. It is I would read this again. I didn't really have too many thoughts about it, but I would read it again.
Yeah. I am very bad at giving number ratings. I would probably go like 4.5. I found it to be like a very easy read.
See, for me, that's like a phenomenal book. That's like
I know.
really good.
Well, here's the thing, right? I like everything as long as I like it a little bit, which is why it's really hard for me to rate something. I either hate it, or I really, really like it. So I don't use Goodreads anymore, but I went through a stage like, I don't know, 10 years ago probably when I was using it, and all of my ratings were either like 4.5 stars or like 1.
Well, so picture this though, right? If you think about it from this perspective, like we sent a TikTok to each other, which is basically like 2 different people reading it, where one's reading purely based off vibes and one's reading off of like the structure of the book. I found that this isn't necessarily true on an actual, like if you're reading it, you do feel that there is conflict in the story, but the first half of the book, if I'd say the first 75% of the book, up until she gets accused of being a witch, everything is resolved very quickly. Every problem that she has is given a solution. She gets her Samson. She has the problem where Edward's farm is going to be sold off to someone else, and so that he would have to pay them back, and then she just has to turn around to Edward and bat her eyelashes, and he solves it. There's a lot of problems that are brought up and then immediately resolved, and that is very frustrating. But that's actually a way that people construction novels is to do. Like, you build it up to these like false victories where you feel like you're winning until eventually you fail, and then you continue failing and you continue failing. And I feel like that's what they were trying to do, but it made it feel very like it was holding its punches. Like it wasn't giving the kind of depth that I wanted it to, where I wanted it to be a little bit more emotional and a little bit more punchy. I wanted there to be a bit more impact, because even her dying was really not impactful, because immediately 2 seconds after she had been revived. And we discussed in The Starving Saints that you can do
Kinda
that.
wish she'd stayed dead.
But sometimes it's better when they just stay dead. I don't think in this story she should have stayed dead, because the story was about her.
True.
But if they had made it some bigger thing, like there's not really much of a talk about the healing of nature and all of that kind of stuff that they brought up themselves. Like it could have been for a better purpose than just having her be back.
I definitely think she needed to come back. I think what should have happened is Samson was sick of being alive. He was not having fun with all this conflict. I think if Samson had been like,
oh, like,
and
I thought would have been cute.
Yeah,
I like that.
Been like,
giving the devil mantle
it's on
over.
you now, kind of shit, and like given his life lost to bring her back, because he was done with it. And
I like
he
that.
had to live for another 300 and something years. Poor man.
And he's like, I'm so tired. Please let me sleep. I really like that. That's a good solution, I think.
I think that would have been personally for me, a slightly
More
better
satisfying.
resolution.
Yeah.
But if that had been the end of the book, I also would have been super sad that Samson had died. Like,
but also the man does nothing.
That's true.
He does nothing. The most he does is in the first 25% of the book when he eats a goat. That's the most that he does.
And in Edward.
And in Edward, technically. But most of that is forest and sky and creek.
Yeah,
doing most of the luring and
with the goat and the Edward, he's like half asleep. He's still kind of half in his like comatose state, and they're like, "Here, we brought you lunch," and he's just like, "Okay, I'll eat this man, I guess."
He literally barely even needs to get out of bed, and they're like delivering him on a silver platter.
Breakfast in bed.
Like, this man does nothing, and like, it's not bad. It's just I just wanted there to be more. But I think I like your ending. I think that's a good ending.
I also think that the reason that you want there to be more and that you felt like things were resolved. Actually, no, I don't know why you'd feel like things. I was going to say, like, when we talked about it, I was like, maybe the reason that you felt like nothing was happening in this book is because it took 16 hours for everything to happen for you. And it took like 8 for it to happen for me because it was a really long audiobook. Yeah, I don't know how that goes with everything being resolved really quickly.
That made the false victories leading up to the midpoint of the story be really fucking annoying. Because you're like, finally, something's going to happen. Like, there's the point where she gets really depressed and she's like, I should just throw myself in the well. And I'm like, okay, we're having a thought. Let's continue with this. Like, you know, we've actually got some kind of internal conflict going on that's actually being represented in the page where you can understand why she's feeling like that. And you're sad with her. And I'm like, cool, this is great. And then the wild spirits are messing with her. And I'm like, that's fun. That's cool. And then Samson runs away. And they're gone. And she's happy now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, could she have not just wallowed for a bit? Like, yeah, I don't know if that is just a me thing, but maybe that was made worse by how long the audiobook was, because every single time they resolved those little conflicts and ultimately the bigger conflict with her just solving it with honey, it didn't feel like it was earned. It just was like, oh, there you go. I didn't have any sense of foreboding or concern for her because I was like, she's going to work it out.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then when things actually did start going bad, I was sitting there going, she's going to go work it out. And she did. I wasn't ever like, I have concern that you will never come back and you won't live through this story.
Yeah.
And I would have liked a little bit more concern. Like, it didn't feel like much of a horror book.
No, I didn't think it was particularly horrific.
Very dark, not really even really dark fantasy, more fantasy, just plain fantasy. No, with some horror themes.
I would say it's dark fantasy just dealing with the, like, witch executions. And, like, the scene where the little girl, I'm saying little girl, she's like 16, 17, like, gets the bugs coming out of her throat. That was pretty gross.
No, true.
There are some kind of horrific moments, but it wasn't.
I just have a personal aversion to calling something dark fantasy because I feel like dark fantasy is one of those things that a particular type of reader decides to glorify, like sexual assault and misogyny and all that kind of thing, to be like, it's just dark fantasy and you wouldn't get it. So I just struggle to label anything as actually being dark fantasy. I would say it's a fantasy with horror elements in it.
Yeah.
Like, there are definitely scenes that I was like, damn, that's like the cat.
Yeah.
They describe in pretty vivid detail the cat's body.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. That was not fun.
Oh, you know what I didn't like?
Nothing like something. Did you hear that?
So Abatha is chasing down the magistrate who has Sarah in the back of the cart because he is taking her to the city. And Abatha rescues Sarah. And she goes, oh my God, you are a witch. I hate you so much. how could you do this to me? You've ruined my life. And I'm like, really? She just saved your life.
But also,
I thought you were friends. If one of my friends was a witch, I wouldn't be this upset.
but the reason that I didn't like that scene was because I could have seen a world where that was a lot more devastating, where it had been her being forced to, like, because she was forced into making this decision of like killing a bunch of people and like taking on the moniker of, well, not really the moniker. She just kind of became the devil's associate, the witch, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, technically she's called the witch, isn't she?
Yeah.
It just, she chose to do that. She didn't really have any other choice, but like there could have been something that's a bit more impactful, and that relationship could have been really devastating because she
did just kind of get over it. She was like, well,
how sad.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah.
I got murders to do. Bye.
Pretty much. And I just felt like it could have been a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
Because that would have been really nice, I think. Yeah. Like, as in, that relationship had the potential of being devastating. But yeah, before we go in circles about that, the next book that we will be reading is a bit of a silly one. We're going with, it's called Sign Here. It is a book that I ran across when I was looking for horror books through the library, and it was available, and I was like, Belle, sign us up. We are here. It just seems like a really silly concept. A darkly humorous, surprisingly poignant, and utterly gripping debut novel about a guy who works in hell, literally, and is on the cusp of a big promotion if only he can get one more member of the wealthy Harrison family to sell their soul. Peyote Trip has a good gig in the deals department on the 5th floor of hell.
His name is Peyote Trip. It's bad enough that he's named after a drug. His name is Drug Trip.
Yeah.
You're going to hate that name. I hate that name so much more than I anticipated I would.
I said it was a silly book.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I said. I did. You recall that, right? I said it was silly.
You did?
Sure, none of the pens work. The coffee machine has been out of order for a century, and the only drink on offer is Jägermeister. But Pei has a plan, and all he needs is one last member of the Harrison family to sell their soul. When the Harrisons retreat to the family lake house for the summer with their daughter Mickey's precocious new friend, Ruth, in tow, the opportunity Pei has waited a millennium for might finally be in his grasp. And with the help of his charismatic co-worker Calamity, he sets a plan in motion. But things aren't always as they seem on Earth or in hell. And as old secrets and new dangers scrape away at the Harrisons' shiny surface, revealing the darkness beneath, everyone must face the consequences of their choices. It's very silly. It has not taken itself seriously at all at any point, and I think that's really fun. And I just figured it'd be something a little bit lighter for this month, just to...
We have done some dark stuff.
Yeah, and also this is the first one that we've come across that's been labelled a horror thriller. So I think that will be interesting because... like, we haven't had a lot of that just yet. It's just been horror.
Horror.
Or, like, medieval horror, or, like, gothic horror or something.
Body horror.
But, yeah.